I've tagged along to the car boot sale to try and pick up some bits and pieces for my metal detecting hobby, and I've managed to get a really good shovel for a £5. Really pleased with that, so I'll probably show that in another post. For this post, day 2, I wanted to show some clips of me metal detecting for the first time, but I had a part wear out on the metal detector and it turned into a bit of a saga. So it's quite a long post, so for this particular post I'm just going to keep it to the bit that wore out and the problems I had replacing it. So yeah, see what you think. Right, with less than 5 hours use, I've had a part fail on the detector. I don't know if this is a common fault, and I should obviously point out that this is a used detector, but it was in very good condition. It didn't seem to have an awful lot of use. I've probably put more marks on it in those 5 hours than the previous owner had in the 3 years, but I was at the beach, I'd finished, and I was going to put it in the carry bag, and when I undid this latch to collapse the shaft to get it to fit into the bag, this lower shaft would not go back into the upper shaft. I couldn't get it to go in. It was really hard and I had to give it quite a bit of pressure to push it back in there, but it went, and I thought, well, what must be happening is sand must be getting in here and jamming it up. And I thought, well, that's actually a bit of a bad design then, but I couldn't remember seeing or reading anything about that, so I was a bit surprised and went to the beach. Didn't have any problems the next day, and then later on I thought I'll have a look at this shaft, and again I was having difficulty with it when I took it out, and I decided to lubricate this. And anyway, long story short, I was pushing this in and out. It was quite stiff, and this piece of metal popped out of somewhere. So after a bit of looking, it goes in here, and apparently it's a the piece that I need is a pressure pad. Now let's see if I can show you. It's that red piece in there. I did first, I was a bit worried that, because what I thought, this seemed to be attached to this upper shaft, and it looked like when I originally started looking that I needed a new shaft, and they were £40 to buy, and I thought, oh no, you know. But apparently it's something that can go wrong, and they sell them. That one supplier sold like a wear and tear pack, and they included the lower and the upper and some other bits and pieces that apparently known to fail. So, but that again, that was a £40 kit. I've bought a new lower pressure pad. I've got that from Detectnics, and with postage it is just under a £5. That's on its way to me. I've had a look. Thankfully there's a tutorial on YouTube that somebody kindly put on there, and it looks, all I've got to do is release this I don't know what you call that bar that goes through there, take that off and just replace the pressure pad that's in there. He did show the person that was doing it, I think he was showing it on an Explorer. I don't know how old the video is now, but he showed another method for getting it out where it sort of comes out from underneath, but I've had a look at that and I cannot see a way, because he was showing there was 2 ways of getting this particular lower pressure pad in and out. The upper one is just one way, but the lower one he was showing there was 2 ways, but it only seems there's a one way on my particular metal detector. So when that comes I'll show you fitting that, but at the moment it's also, I managed to get the metal piece back in, but obviously it's no good. I can't use it like that. There's nothing stops this moving about, and it actually wobbles quite a bit now. So I've got that piece coming, and I'll change that when it gets there. Right, it's arrived in the post, a new part. I'll fill it in there and I'm going to open it and show you it. And that is the thing that's causing me all the problems. And what I've got to replace. So I'm going to have a go at that now. Just to show you so far how I've got on. It's been fairly simple considering I haven't got the right stuff. But what I did to stop any vibrations as I tapped out this pin going up the shaft and you know, shaking the control box unnecessarily, I've dismantled it down to this upper shaft, which is the only bit I need. And then there's a gap in the bench there. If you were to place it like that, it wants to roll over onto its side. So what I did was put it onto the carry bag, and then to begin with I had this attachment in my penknife. I put it on the pin and just gently tapped with the hammer, and it drove it out. And then I went in, I was going to try and pull it out with these long nose pliers, but then I discovered this, and it's a good fit, it's perfect, and I just tapped it through the last bits. So far it's been very simple. There's the worn out piece, and there's the new piece. And when you go to order these, there is a upper pressure pad and a lower pressure pad, and make sure you order the correct one. This was a lower pressure pad, and I'm going to put that in now. If I can do it on camera. I don't know where the metal piece has gone. Let's take that out now. I don't know if there's a way that goes in first. That looks like it to me. And that looks like it. Now to put the pin back in, and this piece, and see how I get on, to see if that's made the difference. I will add, while I've got it out, I'm going to wrap this shaft in some hockey tape that I've got, and I don't know why it's getting quite scratched up. Considering I've got it in a bag, it's scratching quite easy. And in the 5 days or so I've owned it, or 5 days I've been out with it, I seem to have put more marks on it than the chap who's owned it for 3 years. So I'm going to wrap that while it's out in some hockey tape. Right, I'm going to put this back now and see how I get on. Okay, almost there. This piece needs to be, for the holes to line up in a nice neat line, needs to be in the up position. And what I've done, I've just gently started tapping it, and it's 3/4 of the way through, and I'm almost there. So all I've been doing now at that point is just tapping it very gently with it on the bag with the hammer. I'm probably going to make the camera go all over the place, but almost there, just making sure it's lining up. And I'm just going to use this for the last little bit. That's it, I think. We're there. Yep. Maybe just a tiny fraction more. And there we are. Now to try it. Wow, that's stiff. Okay. I don't know whether that's because it's a new part, and that is very stiff. There you go, that's it. And it's done. Now I'm going to wrap this bit. I'm probably going to lubricate that a tiny bit. I don't know if it needs to be that stiff. And I'm going to wrap this now as well with hockey tape to stop that getting so scratched up. You can buy covers, protective covers for the Minelab Safari and the other detectors, but I just don't have the money for that right now. But the covers completely cover the whole, apart from the carbon fibre looking lower shaft, but everything else is covered if you buy a cover set. I did want one of those, we'd probably get that at a later date, but for now I'm just going to wrap this bit in hockey tape, which I'm going to do right now. And I'm going to lubricate that with a squirt of WD-40 just to stop that being so tight. But that's alright actually, it's loosening up now. And there you go, it's a simple job. And you can save yourself having to send your detector away and have someone else do that. But make sure you've got some kind of tools to get it. I might get a couple of these as well, a lower and upper, just to keep as spares, because the upper was sold out and I couldn't find it for this lower part. It was fairly difficult. I had to go through a few retailers, but yeah, it's done now. But I might keep one or two, one for each, the upper and lower, as a spare. But there you go, that's how to change that part. And that was my first breakage. This is the hockey tape I've got. You can see that. And what I'm going to do, obviously the bit that goes into the control box, I'm just going to mark, because I don't want the hockey tape to go beyond that, because obviously then it'll obviously give me problems if I go beyond that with the hockey tape. It'll give me problems when I put the shaft back into the control box. So the bit that I'm just going to wrap is from there and up to that mark. I'm going to do that now. So I'm going to take this back out, and there's the mark, and then you can see it's black on black, but that's where I don't want to go beyond. And yeah, so here I go. It's actually really hard to do this with a camera right in front of me, but and there you go. I'm sure there's people that wrap hockey sticks who think that's actually a bit of a rough job, but I'm quite pleased with that. And that'll obviously stop that being scratched and whatnot. I have considered wrapping these other parts to stop any chips and scrapes and what have you, when keep it nice when it's up for sale. But what I've backed off at the moment is I'm not sure how this has been put on. It doesn't feel like a transfer, but obviously I'm worried that when I go to peel the tape off, whether it would pull that off and do any damage. So I'm going to have a look into that a bit more, do a bit of research and see what this is, because the hockey tape would go nicely under this grip and keep all that really nice and in good nick. But I need to find out a bit more about this, and obviously there is, because it's got like a adhesive on the back of it, that when I take it off it would be easy to get any residual pieces of adhesive off. But if it's on there and I happen to wipe it with I don't know, some kind of adhesive remover, whether that would damage that, but that's something I'm going to look into. Damn it. No, it's not a scratch, it's just sand. I need to get a dust cover too. So there you go, there's my wrapped shaft, and I'm going to put that back in and show you it. And with the new pressure pad, or cam lock they like to call it in other circles. I'm pleased with that. That was a lot easier than I thought it would be. Excellent, that's a good fit. Now to test this part. Yep. I'm not sure how keen-eyed or observant you are, but there's a problem here, and it's this piece. This bit here has been put on upside down. I've tried to pull it off to put it on the right way round, and it feels like it's glued on, which would make sense because I would assume they glued that on at the factory. I've watched a couple of unboxings, and the only sort of self-assembly parts are this upper shaft, this lower shaft, the coil, and this bit, the control box and the armrest. That are the only bits you put together. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 bits of self-assembly. You don't put that on as far as I can see in videos I've watched, and that would make sense. So it would seem that somebody at the factory has been putting these on and gluing them on, because I've tried to say pull this off and I cannot budge it. So if you own one of these, and I think they use this cam lock system on a few of the Minelab metal detectors, it's probably worth going to check, because they could have glued a bucket load of these on, and they could be out there like that. As I say, the last owner, unless it came off and he glued it on, and he glued it on incorrectly, but it's been used like that, as far as I can tell, by the last owner, and that pressure pad is worn out, which is how this has all been highlighted, where I've actually gone to replace it and have run into problems and have discovered this error. So probably if you own one of these, go and have a look and see how yours is put on. So I'm not really sure what to do now, because the only real options are to either live with it, where it keeps moving and sort of slopping around, which I don't like, figure some way of getting this off, or buy a whole new upper shaft with that cam lock on it. But that's not really an option. These are £40 to buy, and I'm not buying another one, so I'm going to see about getting this off. So with a real bit of effort I was able to get that off. It took some doing, but I can't tell whether it was a real tight, close fit, or whether that was glued on and that's residual glue. I don't know. It's really hard to tell. But I've got it off. That's the main point, and I can put it back round the right way now. And I can show you another way to fit the pressure pad. I showed you one where you remove this cam lever and come in from the top, but it's possible on this one to fit the pressure pad from underneath, and I'll show you that when I put this back together. So put that back on, and then from the underneath you can see it comes up, and then that clip should go under there. I hope that's working. You see it's just gone under there. Sorry, it's not very good. And that's it, it's in now. So that's, you can't do that with the upper pressure pad, I don't think, but you can do it with this one, the lower pressure pad. Right, and now I'm going to reassemble that the correct way now. And that's it, that's the correct way around. It's slightly cocked up my hockey tape, but I'll sort it out later, but that's the correct way it should be, and that now should work. There you go, it's working as it should. So that's it now, that's all rectified, and the cam lock, I suppose that's what you call it, is now round the right way. And I hope this is some sort of use, even if it's a how not to video. But as I say, that felt like that was glued on, and it was possibly put on like that incorrectly at the Minelab factory, and maybe worth going to check your Minelab Safari out or similar, because I think they use this on a few other metal detectors, and it might be worth just checking out to see whether yours is on the right way. So there you go. So as you can see, after much messing about, it's finally sorted and rectified. And to be fair, I don't know whether it came out of the factory with the cam lock fitted round that way, or whether the owner incorrectly installed it. I don't know, but it's sorted now. But just in case it did was an error at the factory, and I know that Minelab uses this system, this cam lock system, for other metal detectors, it might just be worth going and have a look, and just to see whether yours is fitted correctly, because you never know. That's it for now, and hopefully day 3 I'll have some footage of me metal detecting